Greetings, beautiful people. This is your AJ speaking. I am your AJ, which means you get to make me do video game related stuff. If you like my videos or think I suck, please let me know in the comment section. I just started streaming about a week ago, so I don't really care about feeding the algorithm, but I do want to know if I'm actually being entertaining and helpful, or if I'm screwing up and need to fix my approach. If you want to know how to buy, restore, and resell ships for maximum profit in Ostranauts, this is the video for you. If you don't, then maybe you should watch something else. I recommend Firefly or HBO's Rome, also The Wire, which is indisputably the best TV show ever made. Now, I have a much longer version of this video where I show you the full process of flipping a ship in one really long take from my live stream a couple days ago, but it's over an hour long, and there are extended asides where I deal with very annoying bugs that you may encounter while attempting to do this. If you want to see that, there's a link in the description. Now, I'm going to try to keep this video short and sweet. Step 1. Identifying the opportunity. First, find a ship that is in fixable condition and in your price range. You shouldn't bother if you don't have at least $500,000 in the bank. The smallest ships will sell for about $200,000 to $500,000. Luxury ships, even if they're small and in bad condition, will sell for up to $1 million. Nuclear-capable medium-sized ship will range in price from $800,000 to north of $1 million. Large nuclear freighters and luxury liners will cost between $2 and $3 million. By fixable condition, I mean that you need to be able to get it space-worthy enough to limp back to K-Leg with it. For that, you need 1. A working nav computer. 2. A battery with at least some charge. 3. An RCS input like a Kang or Miura with at least one N2 can that isn't empty. 4. At least one working thruster. By the way, the thrusters, you don't have to have multiple thrusters. You don't have to have them positioned different places on your ship. Anywhere you stick them, no matter which way you lay them out, it doesn't have any effect on your directional speed. Every thruster just adds additional speed to the ship. Now, bonus points if you also have an undamaged transponder and a working antenna, which means the cops won't pull you over while you're flying dark on the way back. Note that you should not use the transponder from your original ship, and if you try uninstalling it, there's an 80% chance that you'll break it anyway. Using the wrong transponder on your ship is also illegal. Step 2. Buying the derelict. Take a pass shuttle back to K-Leg and head over to the commercial station to buy the new vessel. While you're here, take the opportunity to stock up on things like food, water, or hull patches. Also, go to the bathroom because it could be a while before you get back. If you don't have enough money, this is where you give up on your ship-flipping dreams and head back. You'll be $1,000 or so poorer, but you can pat yourself on the back for not being a save scummer. Then, you should strip that ship down to the studs to show those SOBs at a Yotomioa who's boss. Now, if you have enough money, you should make the purchase from the ship vendor kiosk. Once you do that, you can also purchase a new transponder for $23,200 and put it in your inventory drag slot. You can indeed take dragged inventory with you on pass shuttles, which will make your life a lot easier. You can also do this with a dolly. So, for instance, if all you need to get the derelict fully space-worthy is a thruster, a transponder, a full N2 can, and an antenna, then you can easily fit all of those into a dolly with room to spare. Quick note about ship prices. I was the guy who wrote the original How to Flip Starships for Mad Cash guide on Steam, and for the moment, it is hopelessly outdated after the last few patches. So it used to be that you could reduce the price of a derelict ship before buying it by stripping out the valuable equipment, uninstalling all the doors, and punching a hole in the hull. This was never intended behavior. I know because I got into an argument with Joshu, one of the Ostranauts devs, who insisted that this isn't how it worked until I showed him that it did. Evidently, they patched that, so now every derelict gets assigned a buying price when they're spawned. Once you buy it, though, the selling price is dictated with a formula based on the combined price of all the ship's components together, modified by multipliers based on these factors. 1. The number of rooms, meaning enclosed compartments separated by walls and a door. 2. the average condition of all the ship's components, including the repair levels of the floors, walls, and conduits. If the components are luxury brands like Van Hummel floors, this may impact the condition as well, but I can't say for sure. 3. Whether or not the ship is capable of holding atmosphere, meaning it's a lot more valuable if it's full of breathable air and there are no gaping holes in the hull. 4. The distance from OKLG, meaning that you'll get your best price if you manage to drag it back into dock. On top of that, specific rooms have multipliers of the value of all the objects inside. For instance, a rec room or wellness room has a multiplier of 1.9, while an engineering room has a multiplier of 1.4, and a cargo room has a multiplier of 1.2. Notably, none of the non-installed equipment or items on the ship count for anything, so be sure to sell everything you don't want that isn't nailed down at the license store before you sell the ship. In full transparency, I don't know what the pricing equation is, and I couldn't find anyone on Discord who could tell me confidently. I found direct answers from months and years ago, but they're definitely out of date by now. Step 3. Take the derelict into K-Leg. Once you've taken a pass shuttle back to your derelict, you should get it at least barely space-worthy, meaning nav computer, battery, RCS intake, and thruster, and then drag it back to K-Leg. Ideally, you should use your main ship to tow it back as close as possible to K-Leg first, using a towing brace. What you want to do is point your main ship towards K-Leg and get around 20 kilometers away, then equalize your speed so that you're in a relatively stable orbit around Ganymede. If anything, you want to be pushing maybe a meter per second away so you don't risk falling into the asteroid after hours of repairs. Now, the great thing is that when you switch over to your derelict and undock, after of course unspooling the tow cable, and just nudge backwards, flip 180 degrees, boom, you are headed directly towards OKLG. And even if you have a limited amount of battery or limited amount of N2, you should be able to get there fairly easily, even with a bare bones ship. Now, if you haven't seen a towing brace, it's actually very easy to miss. It comes attached to a derelict's exterior airlock, and when you uninstall it, it comes out in 2 parts. As of the last couple patches, you can also find it on sale at the scrap kiosk in port as a keyway. Keep in mind, again, if you buy it, you have to buy 2 parts in order to install it. Now, installing it on your ship is a bit of a pain because you'll likely need to scrap or uninstall a couple of the corner walls around your airlock, and you'll have to do some finagling to make it fit in there. Even worse, the sides of the towing brace don't count as walls for keeping Atmo in, so you'll need to make sure that there are walls on either side of the spots where you had to knock the walls out. Once you have it, you can lock onto a ship by manually unspooling the tow cables in a long, slow, annoying animation, and then in order to release the docking clamps, you need to do the same long animation to release it. Moving your ship with another attached without a tow cable causes massive damage to your ship. I did some modest boosting once to keep a ship from crashing into Ganymede, and it wiped out half the hit points on almost all my walls and floors. With the tow cables, there appears to be no damage at all, even with a good amount of boost, except for maybe a little bit of wear on the airlock. Step 4. Restore and sell for maximum profit. Since I've already told you what factors influence the price, the path now should be pretty straightforward. First, you'll want to hit auto task and systematically repair every inch of the vessel, including all the walls, floors, and conduits. You'll probably have to uninstall a section of the wall so you can go outside to repair all the bits and bobs you couldn't reach inside. You might even have to uninstall things like nav computers so you can reach any nooks and crannies that they keep you from reaching otherwise. Then, you're going to want to install as many doors as humanly possible on the ship to maximize the number of specialty rooms, trying to install as much equipment as you can to reach the thresholds that are on the wiki to have the rooms counted for their specialties. I'm going to link the wiki in the description. Keep in mind that, for instance, a cargo room isn't a cargo room unless it's minimum 6x6 and has at least 6 bins or racks. Also, a bedroom doesn't count as quarters if it isn't minimum 8x8 and doesn't have a toilet, IC reactor, or canister. Go to the scrap store and buy, repair, and install any equipment that doesn't clash with a specialty, because with the multipliers, it's practically guaranteed to increase the value of the derelict by more than what you paid for it. Once you've sold the ship at the trading kiosk, all you have to do is take one more pass shuttle back to your ship, which has hopefully stayed safely in orbit, just a quick nitrogen burst away from the station. In conclusion, I bought a tiny cargo shuttle for about $221,000, spent about $26,000 restoring it, and sold it for $577,000 for a profit of roughly $330,000. I more than doubled my money with just 1 hour and 12 minutes worth of work, which is by far the most money I've made in that time in this run so far. Now that I've got almost $1 million in the bank, I could start flipping bigger ships for much more money. Eventually, I'm going to trade up for a freighter and start carrying things like doors and nav computers and flooring tiles on board, so I can start rebuilding derelict ships without ever going too far from all my gear and my comfy cabin. That's it for the video. Please let me know how you think I did, or give me a heads up if I missed anything. Also, don't hesitate to ask questions in the comments or in the chat on my streams. I seriously love the company, and the audience participation really makes me feel like I'm not wasting my time by playing the video games that I love. If anybody wants to do some streaming together, go ahead and hit me up. I would love to have someone on board to bounce ideas off of, and I'm also happy to be your backseat salvager if you want. I've been playing Ostranauts since literally the first day of early access, so there are only a few people who've seen as much of the game as I have. I also work in a cyclical industry, and I'm basically on vacation the entire month of December, so I got plenty of time to spare. Now, if you really love my content, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe. I'm going to use that as a barometer for how much of this I should do in the future. Finally, I want to say thanks to Alex, Bakrana, and Tina for keeping me company as I stream. Also, a huge thanks to Cirne for walking me through the latest news on pricing. Alright, that's it. I'm out. Peace be with you and with your spirit.